Man, this mic working? That camera working? I think so. So today, in this video, what I want to do is I want to take you through the entire process of the full color change and wide body process of the Acura RSX that I just finished up on. I'm talking the day that I got it, every single thing that I did it over a month-and-a-half period, and then all the way to when the owner came to pick it up. So this is going to be a good one. Sit down, hang out, and enjoy the video.
And now, you're watching the Roomba rolling over a hot pile of dog waste and tracking it through your entire house channel of YouTube. Welcome to Bodie Vision.
Hey, so what is up and welcome. Thank you so much for joining me on yet another video. So like I said, this video I want to bring you through the entire process of how this went down, and I may be thinking about doing this type of video or this style of video after I finish any major project in order to give you one nice digestible video of the process from start to finish. So let's get right into it. So to start off, the car was dropped off in late October, and that was just a completely stock Acura RSX. It was silver. There was nothing done to it body-wise whatsoever. The owner brought me a couple parts. He had talked to me a little bit before on Instagram, just shooting back some ideas. We planned, he came out, he dropped off the car along with all of these other parts. So the first thing that I did, I got into it. I wanted to start to tear the car down. Now there were some things that I noticed right off the bat. The back bumper was being held together by Bondo, so this was probably the first sign that the car had been worked on before and that some of the work that was done to the car might not have been up to top quality work. So I just got into it. I did everything that I normally do. I started pulling off panels, the bumper came off, and then also that wing came off, and there was also some other holes in the trunk that we wanted to get shaved, so we went ahead and addressed that. Shaved the metal down, welded those holes shut, grinded that down, so that's shaved, that's looking good. Now I went to go fit some of the body kit pieces, and I mean, as you can see, that process, that did not go smooth. And if you're familiar with the series, you know that eventually we just completely ditched that body kit. But here in the front, you can see the fitment was completely off. It was horrible. I did not have any better luck in the back area. So after talking to the owner, we just decided that ditching that body kit was going to be by far the best thing that we can do. And even after looking back, I'm definitely glad that we did not do that and we went a completely different route. So the original idea with this car from the very beginning was to go wide body kit as well as the other crazy Duraflex body kit. We ditched the Duraflex body kit, but we still wanted to go with the regular body kit. Now in the rear section, the wide body piece was actually just an over fender, and that took up the entire rear quarter panel. So the wide body portion of this entire project was an over fender, and that over fender just needed to be put on top of what was already there, besides radiusing out the fender a little bit more to allow more clearance for the rear tires. So that's what I went ahead and I did. I drew out my line, cut out that first layer of metal while keeping that under layer of metal. Then I made my slits, folded that metal up, welded that metal completely together, and then once that was welded, I wanted to protect the entire thing because everything was sanded down to bare metal at this point. So I wanted to go ahead and epoxy primer. You want to use an epoxy primer because that's DTM or direct to metal primer, and that's the best chance that I knew I could possibly have for the over fender or that rear quarter to bond with that panel. I wanted that panel bond to go directly to that epoxy primer. But at this point, it wasn't time to throw that over fender on just yet. I wanted to go ahead and go with a seam sealer around that arch just to make sure we're not going to get any leaks or anything of that nature. And then I had my brother, Josh, a cop with a swap, come out. He came to help me. We went ahead and got the over fender set, put on there, got it held on with tape, and I wanted that to dry for about 24 hours until I moved on to the next step. After that 24-hour period was done, I went back with my panel bond and I did an entire perimeter bead around the whole thing, and that's where you can see I'm just laying down my tape, and then I go back behind with the panel bond gun, and then I run my finger across to just make a nice bead. And to me, in my opinion, this is the best chance for that panel to bond with the surface. It's if it's panel bond all underneath it and around all the edges, it shouldn't in theory ever fail because everything is attached to the car at this point. So once the panel was bonded, once the panel was good, we are looking ready to go. So I moved on to the body filler. Now this green body filler that I used, it's called Duraglass. It's actually a fiberglass laced body filler. So this was the first layer. This is what I wanted to put between the actual over fender and the body. And again, in the back of my mind, I wanted to do everything possible to make sure that over fender is going to bond with the body as good as possible. So that's why I used that filler first. Then after that was sanded down, I came back and I just did a regular old lightweight body filler, and my main goal at this time was to completely make that edge disappear and to make it seamless, and to make it seem like that over fender was never ever there at all. Now after I was done with that bodywork, I don't know if you can tell, but as I'm laying down that primer, the body still looks really wavy, and that's just the nature of fiberglass, how it is. It's never perfect, and it's just coming out of a mold, so that's all good. So after that little area, I wanted to go ahead and block everything completely. So that first layer of primer that I did, pretty much all of that came off besides the low spots. The low spots still gonna have primer in there, and then I needed to use a little bit more filler and then prime again, filler, primer, so on and so forth. This by far took the longest amount of time. I think this process took about 2 weeks, just making sure that line was going to be seamless. Now after that over fender was merged seamlessly with the body, I just wanted to move on and act like it was a regular old standard normal color change. So I got the doors pulled off, I got the hood pulled off, I got the trunk or the hatch pulled off, and this is actually when Brian from Paint Society, he came out to give me a hand. So him and I together, we jammed out the entire car. We did the door jams, we did the insides of the door, we did the inside of the hood, every single thing that's going to be like entered, we attacked that at that time. And then after that was done, I went ahead and I put the car back together. Now the main reason why I want to paint the car with the doors on, or not do the doors off inside and out, I want to do the outside of the doors with the outside of the car, is because that's the best chance for me to have in my head for the entire car to look nice and consistent. Because painting, it doesn't always look the same every single time, and there's so many variables, the temperature, the number of coats, just all kinds of things that can play into how consistent the paint is or the color looks. So that's what I always like to do. I like to throw the doors back on the car before I move on to even more painting again, so that way it'll look as consistent as possible. So once all the pieces were mounted, I also had to work on this rear bumper, and the rear bumper itself had a body kit section too. That was really challenging, but we made it happen. The line looked really good. I even test fit the rear lip to just see how that was going to look, and that looked really good as well. So at this point, man, I forgot about this, but revisiting this footage just kind of brings up those old thoughts or how it happened. I just wanted to paint some of those miscellaneous pieces like the side skirts and the rear lip. And I remember I prepped those side skirts for a very long time, sanded them down, prepped them, degreaser, did every single thing that I thought I could have or that I thought I should have done. And as soon as I hit that sealer on that plastic, it just rejected it. It was like a slap in the face. So as you can see here, it's just messed up. Then I sanded that down, and that I lost maybe 2 days right there. But either way, I got it figured out. That rear lip turned out really nice. That was a two-tone section, so I had to do the black base coat, the blue base coat, and then I had to clear the entire thing. And then that was done. That was another problem behind us, and we are ready to move forward. And throughout this entire process, we had a hard time figuring out exactly what front bumper we wanted to use, because the front bumper that was on the car, it was cut out for fog lights, and we didn't want to keep the fog lights. It just didn't look that good. And then we had that body kit bumper, and obviously we didn't want to use that. And if you guys know anything or are familiar with Acura RSXs, they're not so easy to find. So to get parts for these cars is kind of challenging. So what we ended up finding was actually an OEM DC5 Integra Type R front end with the lip, with the grille, with the headlights. I am so happy that we found this. This looks phenomenal, and this is so much better than the body kit or the stock bumper. So to have that OEM Type R front end with the wide, I don't even know if I've mentioned it thus far. So we have the wide rear fenders, and we also have Jay's wider front fenders. So Jay's Racing wider front fenders, and that's what makes this car wide body, wide front fenders, wide rear fenders, now with the Type R front end looking phenomenal. So at this point, the car was back together. Everything was good. You can see that it was jammed out by that overflow of blue paint. Then we came behind with that white sealer. The entire car got done in the white sealer for a nice foundation underneath that base coat. Then we did that blue, and this color is Riviera blue from a Porsche, whatever. It's a Porsche color Riviera blue. So after that blue laid down really nicely, we came behind with the clear coat. And this day, man, it's crazy. I I was dealing with cold fronts over here in Florida, and I don't have a booth or anything, so temperature is a big factor for me. That day, the high was going to be about 72 degrees, and in the morning it was in the 60s. And if you know about paint, you know that's just too cold to paint. So as I was laying my clear coat, I was so distracted. I mentally had a block in my head, and it was messing me up because I knew if I painted too thick, it wasn't going to dry fast enough because it was so cold and it was going to run. But if it's too thin, it looks really orange peely and fuzzy and nasty. So I had to find that perfect balance. And in all honesty, the paint or the clear doesn't look as great as some of my other jobs have in the past. But I figured it could be wet sanded and buffed, and I did not want to get any runs. And that's exactly how I did it. It was just not as smooth as some of my other jobs, but it looked fine. And honestly, in the end, the owner was extremely happy with how it came out. And that's all that matters to me. So once everything was painted, the bumpers, the body, every single thing, it was time to start to put the car back together again. We got the OEM headlights going on, that front end going on, also the rear bumper, the door panels coming back together because I hadn't done that until the end. And this is the most satisfying part of the entire build for me, when the car is just coming back together. The process from start to finish, I mean, the first day I get the car, I'm taking stuff off. And then the very last day, I'm putting the final pieces back on the car. It is just so rewarding. I love it. I cannot get enough of it. That last day with the car, as I'm just kind of cleaning it up, I'm getting ready for the owner to come pick it up. That's kind of bittersweet because I'm so happy that it's done, but then the car is just gone. I don't see it anymore. So painting a car for somebody else is definitely really cool, but the bitter side of that is that I don't see the car once it leaves. But this car actually did see it a couple days later at some of the shows, and I'm cool with the owner, so we're going to keep in touch, and I'm going to see the cars at local events and stuff too. So here it is in its entirety, the Acura RSX full color change, wide body rear. Those are JP fiberglass rear over fenders, J's Racing front wider fenders, OEM DC5 Type R front end. And that's it. This looks good, man. Let me know what you guys think. I think the car looks really good. At the end of this video or in a couple seconds, I'll just show you some B-roll of the car. Let me know what you think of this style of video. If you want me to do them more often, I will. If you don't want me to do them more often, I don't care. I'm probably going to do them anyway. So thank you guys so much for watching. Like this video, comment, subscribe, do all the stuff. You know what it is, YouTube. I will see you on the next one. 2020 is going to be huge. I'll probably do more of these and probably do other stuff looking to switch it up. So like this video, like I said, comment, subscribe. I am out.